Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Herrera and I'm an undergrad student doing CS here at Texas A&M. I'm also part of the Encando team that has brought this web app that you see before you to life. Now, Encando is a sort of collection of AI tools that are here to help you manage your AI use in the classroom, right? So I know, as I'm sure all of you do, that we kind of are very dependent on AI nowadays, right? And I also know that a lot of us don't want that. We don't want to not do the work, right? We only reach that point when we have like time pressure or, there's just a bunch of other stuff that we need to get done, just like things that stop us from learning the things that we want to learn. And so that's why we created Encando. What Encando does is it brings to you an AI that is specifically trained on information that your teacher wants it to be trained on, right? And now that is a huge thing for two big reasons. The first one is that it means that your teacher is saying, go ahead and use this, right? No more hiding and being worried about like, oh, is AI use okay? Your teacher is saying, please use this, which means you can ask it whatever you want. You can just use it like you would normally use ChatGPT, as well as use all of the new features that we've kind of put into this. So go crazy, try things out, just use it as you normally would with the comfort of knowing that your teacher wants you to do so. Number two is that this is specifically trained, once again, on stuff that your teacher has put into it, right? And that's important because that means that we won't have any more of those issues where like the AI tells you to do things one way, but your teacher wanted you to do it another way. And you just end up in this whole confusing mess. Like, how do you get the right answer, et cetera, et cetera. And it also means no more of those issues where you try to get the AI to explain something to you, but it's not really getting your point because it's specifically trained with the content the teacher wants you to know. That means it's only answering based off of your course's content. No more silly mistakes from ChatGPT. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick rundown on how all this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys some quick tips, prompting tips, general usage tips, just everything you need to know to get the maximum amount out of Encando. So the first thing you're going to want to do is, of course, sign in. You're going to click this big old sign in button, sign in with your Gmail. I'm sure you're all very used to all this. I'm going to go ahead and sign into mine. Now, after you sign in, first thing you're going to notice here is I have a lot of courses, but don't worry, don't get scared. I'm just a developer, so I get to see everything. When you log into this page, you will only see the courses that are specifically relevant to you. So let's go to the algebra course. Hopefully that's a pretty simple one. We're all kind of comfortable with it. And on the left here, you're going to see the course structure, right? So it's all the videos, all the files, just everything that your teacher has given not only you, but also the AI to learn from. Also at the top of here, you're going to see two big glowing buttons. The first one is Ask ChatTA. The second one is the advanced version of it. The advanced version of it employs some fancy techniques. So if you're ever having trouble with the basic version, feel free to use the advanced version. But generally, they should both get the job done. So let's go ahead and go to this version. Now here, you'll be kind of prompted with this little screen. If you notice that you don't have any conversations, you can click this little plus button, and that's how you start a new conversation. So I went ahead and clicked it, and you're going to see here on the left, a new conversation. Now, when you're kind of faced here with this screen, you might not really recognize the power that you have, right? So I want to show you some quick examples that I have found particularly useful whenever I've been kind of testing my own courses through this system. The first one is one of the most annoying things to have is when your teacher has a test and they don't provide you a study guide, right? So in this case, we can very easily fix that. We can just ask ChatTA for a study guide. We can say like, I'm having trouble learning how to deal with quadratic functions. Can you give me a quick study guide to refresh on this? And by asking it this, ChatTA is going to go through all the course content that it knows. It's checking all the videos, all the files, everything that your teacher has given it, and it's generating an answer based on that information. So we're going to go ahead and let it think here. And as you can see, It gives you everything, right? Forms of quadratic functions, how to find the vertex, graph behavior, understanding all that, end behavior, etc., etc. And this is all based on course content. Furthermore, you can even kind of go beyond this, right? Like, let's say maybe I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding finding the vertex, right? I can be like, oh, wow, can you give me some questions? Or let's say, actually say, some practice problems for finding the vertex? And of course, ChaTA, again, is going to go through all that information that it has, and it's going to be able to easily give you some practice problems. So there's a lot of usage here, right? You can even tell it like, which videos should I refresh on to learn this? And it's able to search through all the course content and find the videos that are most relevant. So you can interact with this and it just gives you everything you need to know, right? Like you can go back and check these out. So that's kind of like one of the biggest features out of here. Feel free to ask this any questions, use it as you normally would AI, but also use it knowing that it has all these extra capabilities because it's only learning from the teacher's content that they've given it. Okay, so let's go look at some of the other really cool things that Encando can do for you. So if you click on this little sidebar over here, we're going to go ahead and go back to the courses list. And we're going to change courses for a future reason that you'll see in a second. But first, what I want you to notice here is that every single file and every single video that your teacher uploads has two big things. The first is this little exercise button. And what this is a list of 5 multiple choice and free response questions that are generated from the content of the video. And now I know what you're thinking. You're probably sitting there like, oh my God, not more work to do. But I promise that these are really helpful. Because a lot of studies have shown that when you actually test yourself on the stuff that you just learned, it helps your brain retain them. So while maybe you spend, a minute or two more sort of actively testing and making sure that you understood the content, in reality, you're saving yourself time because it stays in your memory and you have to revisit it less. So get through these. They can be really helpful. The second thing is like, let's go into one of these videos as if we were going to watch one, right? So let's go to this one. If you notice here at the bottom, there's a little ask a question button. And what this allows us to do is it brings up another small chatbot. And this chatbot is trained specifically on the content of this video, which means, let's look at the length here. We can ask it stuff like, oh, snap, I didn't fully understand what he was saying at, let's say, 3:02. Can you give me some more information? And so we can ask it a question like this. And because the chatbot has access to all the information on this video, it's actually able to generate an answer. So look, that's timestamp 3:02. He's discussing how complex numbers can be represented, blah, 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 blah. But you can see the potential here, right? You can see how you can actively be interacting with this content, asking for clarifications. If you're misunderstanding anything, you can just ask while you watch the video. And that can be really helpful. Thing number 2, and maybe my favorite thing, is if we go over to this assignments button, you're going to notice a whole bunch of assignments. And these are all uploaded by your teacher. So the important thing here, or rather there's 2 important things. The first one is that when your teacher uploads this assignment, they also upload the answers to the assignment. So if we go to this little chatbot that's once again trained specifically for this content, it also has access to the answers, meaning that you can be very sure that it is leading you along the right path. Now, it won't give you the answers, but it's a much greater guarantee than normal ChatGPT, where the second you get to more complex things, it just can't keep up a lot of the time. The second really cool thing is I'm sure that you guys have all faced this when you're studying for classes. You do a problem and you feel like you kind of get it, but you really need more practice. And so what we've created is if you click this little show examples button, it actually generates similar examples to the questions. And you can click on each one, example 2, example 3. Each one comes with 3 examples, and it gives you the solution. So you can get these practice problems, practice that same concept, and also check your work here with solutions. It's really, really cool and really, really helpful when you're trying to really understand the things that you're learning. Now, there are a couple other buttons on the left here I encourage you to explore, but these are just the main features that Encando offers. I really hope you guys enjoy this software, and I hope that you guys can see the value that I see in it. This has really, really changed the way that I approach my courses. Thank you so much, and happy using!